If you have type 2 diabetes, you will cheat, but get back fast. Disclaimer, I am not a doctor or a nutritionist or a dietitian or trained in basically anything. The only thing I'm really good at is my own diabetes. Before you make any changes, please consult your medical team. We're talking about cheating because it is a well known fact that nobody is perfect. I'm not perfect. No offense, you're not perfect. And the other people out there, they're not perfect either. Nobody is perfect. Some people become ridiculously obsessed with things and get really good at it and have just ridiculous amounts of self discipline, but nobody really is perfect. When you're talking about diets, right? A diet to control or reverse diabetes does feel a lot different than regular diets, right? You've all tried dieting, I'm sure, at some point. Maybe you have had a wedding that was coming up, a high school reunion, maybe health reasons. Maybe you saw something on the internet and you're like, listen, I figured it out. If I never eat a carb again, I will be the skinniest person on earth and super healthy. Or I'm going to, grapefruit diet. All these different kinds of things, right? That's one thing. But dieting for diabetes could literally be life or death. It could be the reason that you succeed or fail at, if your goal is reversing diabetes or controlling diabetes. Diet's a huge part of it, right? And that's a ton of pressure. That's a lot of pressure. I remember when I first got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, July 31st, 2023. Never forget that date. But I felt like everything I was eating was trying to kill me. I was so lost when it came to meal planning and diets and so scared to put anything into my mouth. I probably cut my calories by 70% right off the bat, right? Which didn't work. My poor wife would try to buy something that she thought was okay. And I was like, you want me dead, right? You bought me Triscuits. Are you out of your mind? I have a really good life insurance policy, so maybe that was it. But we actually went to the store, and once we kind of figured out exactly what I was doing and what I could and couldn't eat and all that kind of stuff, and we actually went to the store and spent, it was probably 2.5 hours at least, just walking around, looking at pastas, looking at sauces, showing her what to look for because she does the grocery shopping because she's freaking amazing. It doesn't make me go with her. And apparently it costs 30% more every time I go to the store with her. But at any rate, we went through this whole thing because she was like, I don't know what to do. She got cookbooks, she got educated, and now she is, in my opinion, the greatest low glycemic diabetic vegan chef on the face of the earth. She makes me amazing food. But being 100% compliant is also not realistic because if you shoot for 100%, you will fail. If you fail enough times, you will give up, and that can kill all of your progress, right? So go cheat. Enjoy it. No, I'm just kidding. The fact of the matter is that you will cheat, but you need to course correct as fast as possible, right? The problem with cheating on your diabetic diet is not that you had a bad meal, right? It's that maybe you had a bad meal, so you decided to have a bad day. You're like, oh man, I really miss this stuff. I'm off my diet today. I'm just gonna go for it, right? Or maybe it turns into a weekend. So you have a bad meal at lunch on Friday, and you're like, you know what? I'm back on it Monday. So this weekend, I'm gonna just enjoy. It's like the famous, was it Oprah? Anyway, I think it was Oprah. Used to, before she would start a diet, she would have like a week where she would just eat like a complete pig, knowing that she wasn't gonna be able to eat that stuff again. But it can turn into a weekend, and then it can turn into a week. Like, I'm gonna get back on it. I'm just gonna give myself a week or a month, or it makes it very hard. So course correcting, you are going to cheat. You are going to be forced, or you're going to make a mistake, or you're just not going to be able to resist. It's all about how fast can we get back to being consistent in your diet, because we don't get to take a week, a month, 3 months, a year off and have it not affect our diabetes, because it will. So how do I do it? I do not eat as compliant meals Friday and Saturday nights. Yep. On Friday, might be like, you know what? We're going to have some pizza tonight. I'm like, awesome. In the past, I would be like, cool, I'll have, 4 or 5 pieces of pizza. I'm going to have some breadsticks. That sounds good. Maybe we'll have some dessert with it. That's not what I do now. Now, when it's pizza night, I eat a huge salad. I like the pre-packaged ones just because it's Friday and I don't want to cook it. Anyway, I get like a big pre-packaged salad that I think it's meant for 6 people. I eat the whole thing. And then I have like 2 pieces of pizza. Yeah. Salad first, there's lots of fiber. It's your body starts burning in the right direction. And then, you have the 2 pieces of pizza and it doesn't affect my glycemic index as much. And I'm literally 2 pieces of pizza. Tacos. Sometimes sometimes it's time for tacos, right? And in our house, we only eat out Friday and Saturday nights. My wife makes dinner Sunday through Thursday. That's just our gig. But if we want to have tacos, awesome. I'm going to have a couple of tacos, but I'm going to eat a huge salad first. And I don't eat the leftovers. So if there's leftover pizza, we order smaller pizzas now because I don't eat it. But my wife, she doesn't have diabetes, so she can eat it for lunch the next day. I don't. If we have tacos, leftover tacos doesn't work. But whatever we're having Friday and Saturday night, I am not eating the next day. I'm getting back as fast as possible. But do I have a big dessert after? No. A loaf of bread with it? No. It's a cheat, right? Because I enjoyed it, but I'm easily getting back. For me, it's like having a pressure cooker, right? So I'm super compliant. I eat the same thing for breakfast Monday through Friday. I eat pre-planned, not packaged. I wish you could just eat pre-packaged meals. That'd be amazing, but I can't. But I have meal prepped for lunch, and then my wife makes me awesome dinners. But there's a little bit of I know that on Friday night, I'm probably going to eat something that I wouldn't normally. Um, and I get a little bit of a release. So I feel like a human again. I don't feel like I'm so restricted constantly. Now, sometimes if I'm not doing well, I will go on a week or 2 without having any sort of cheat where I'm like, you know what? I'm just didn't have a good week diabetically. I'm going to grind it out for a couple weeks. Honey, you can eat whatever you want. I'm having this meal already made that was frozen that is good for me, and I'm gonna stay on it. Doesn't happen as much anymore. Certainly did in the beginning. What I would say though is don't plan a cheat day. A lot of people do that when they diet, right? They plan that cheat day. They're like, okay, Saturday, I'm going for broke, right? So I ate good Monday through Friday. And then on Saturday, I'm getting up and I'm having waffles with syrup and hash browns and all these high carb foods. And then for maybe some donuts, let's get it done. And then for lunch, I'm going out and getting a big old cheeseburger with French fries and a regular Coke because I miss all that. And as long as I'm good 6 days a week, right? But what ends up happening is it carries over, right? It does. And especially when you're first getting started, be as strict as you can because you're developing habits. You're developing what it's going to look like for the rest of your life. But a cheat day for diabetics, in my opinion, is way too long. Way too long. Having a cheat meal where you kind of cheat, that's one thing. But if you cheat Friday night, refuse to accept not getting back on track until Monday morning. Don't make it a weekend. Vacations are harder. They're way harder, but you can still be good. When I go on vacation, I'm breakfast wise, I'm having the same thing. I bring my own, I have overnight oats. All I have to do when I get to wherever we're going on vacation is buy a thing of almond milk. That's me. That doesn't have to be you, but that's just me. And I have it pre-packaged and I just, it's just oats and chia seeds and cinnamon. And I'm throwing it into a thing with some almond milk, shake it up. I'm good to go the next day. So I always try to start every vacation day with the correct meal, and I eat at my same times. And I'm just like, if you don't like it, I don't care. But when you do cheat, don't beat yourself up, right? We're all humans, right? Humans are flawed, some more than others. But you didn't get here, meaning having type 2 diabetes because of one meal. It was years of it. So if you do have I fell off a little bit, right? And I had a bad dinner and I had a bad dessert. And if you're using a constant glucose monitor like I do, you know it because it's in the data, right? You're going to see the numbers go way up and you're like, hopefully they'll come right down. Hopefully your insulin sensitive versus resistance, and it'll come right back down. But don't beat yourself up too much. Acknowledge the fact that you cheated, and then acknowledge the fact that you're willing to get back on it as fast as possible and string together really good days. Making it too much of a negative experience will hurt your progress. So, what you don't want to do is get off the path and be like, I'm going to get back on the path later. That was way too hard, right? If you're shooting for 100%, you're going to fail, right? I'm always shooting for 90% because in my opinion that's good enough. Now, I might be a little bit more compliant than that. I'm probably more like 96% or 95, whatever, right? But the the fact is that if you have a little bit of a release, right, that is a good thing, meaning that you can, and you don't have to look forward to it. It's just there for you, right? It's not a huge release, but it's at least it's something. Um, but I'm always shooting for 90%. I read this online. I loved it. Next meal, not next day. That is so true. So that means what next meal, not next day means is your next meal should be, if you have a bad meal and you go out and you're like, I'm having some pasta tonight, or whatever your cheat meal is, right? And I ate a little bit too much and I didn't have a salad with it or whatever, right? Your next meal should be really, really compliant, right? Like really good. You're about falling off the wagon and not being able to get yourself back on it. If you can't stop cheating, then you probably need to ask yourself, what is the trigger, right? If you're always looking forward to cheating, what is the trigger for that? And what's going on? Was it a bad day at work? Is there stress at home? Are you celebrating something? I have really, really, really tried to not make food an award because it was an award for me before, right? It was every time I used to run a half marathon. I've run a lot of half marathons. I used to go as soon as I got back from running the half marathon, or I even had it in the car or truck, whatever, I would eat like a pig because in celebration, I'm going to have a double cheeseburger. I'm going to have chicken fried steak. I'm going to do whatever I'm going to do, right? Because I ran a half marathon and I was like, man, that was a really bad idea. I did all this hard work leading up to it. I went and I ran for a couple hours, and then the first thing I do is erase all the progress I can by eating like an idiot, right? So now instead, I do not have food rewards after my half marathons. I still run them, but now I buy something. That's my reward. So lately what I've been doing is getting a disc. I play a lot of disc golf, and some of those discs, they're like 20, $30 or whatever, which is not terrible, right? But every time I grab that disc, I think of the work that I put into that half marathon. Much better than just eating a meal because food was the reward, right? And if I'm stressed at work, I go for a walk, or I really try not to use food as a reward. I fail at it, but I try not to. And if you feel the need to cheat constantly, your diet may be too restrictive, right? This is all long-term thinking. So if you're by Wednesday, right, you're like, I am so sick of eating the same thing over and over again. There's no way I can keep this going. I don't enjoy this at all. Your diet may be too restrictive. You need to kind of take a look at it. That doesn't mean add in a bunch of bad foods. It means change it up a little bit. But the question is, can you eat like this forever? Right? That's a meal plan. That's like, I have changed the way I'm thinking and I'm going to eat the right stuff. Consistency is more important than perfection, right? Being consistent, 90% compliant is way more important than being 100% perfect. Shoot for that 90% and give yourself, if you cheat, give yourself a little grace. It's okay. Just get back on as fast as you can. I hope your A1C is down, and I hope you have an awesome day.